Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ron Dagdag, and today I will be talking about bringing the power of AI to IoT with Azure Percept. Let's get started. I'm going to be talking about the edge. Most likely, we've been talking about AI for the whole time. I'm going to make it a little bit different this time. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about monkeys. And of course, I'll give you the context. I don't know if you've heard this phrase, see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. I come from Asia, and the way we understand this is more, be careful with what you see and what you hear and what you speak. Be good at, at interacting with others. And of course, through time, I kind of heard a different interpretation of it. It's more of, when you see something bad, just close your eyes, or when you hear something like not a good phrase, then cover your ears and don't speak about it. It is actually, I traced it back where it came from. The phrase, it is a temple in Japan called Toshogu Temple in Nikko, Japan. How did it became about monkeys? Because it's a play of words. They have this term called mizaru, kikazaru, and iwazaru that talks about see no evil, hear no evil, and then speak no evil. And it's an interesting phrase, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. Here's our agenda today. Today I will be talking about AI-enabled IoT, and I will explain what's Azure Percept and the capabilities of Azure Percept, and we'll do a little bit of demo. Let's get started. When I first wanting to learn more about Internet of Things, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you have these two choices. It's like you chose left or right. You go with, kind of like the Raspberry Pi where you have an operating system, and then you go with the right where you have the Arduinos and you have the microcontroller path. And then I started kind of looking at okay, I want to learn more about computer vision and machine learning. Whoa, there's a lot more to learn. I have to learn about the different languages, deep learning, machine learning tools, data exploration, OpenCV if you're doing computer vision, and if you're running it at the edge, they talk about OpenVINO. There's a lot more development tools out there, and of course the cloud and everything else around it. And of course, this is what happens every time you learn some new technology. There's more questions and unanswered questions and a lot of research needed. But let's go back. What is Internet of Things? Internet of Things is coined by Kevin Ashton back in 1999, connecting the internet to physical world via sensors. At the end of the day, it's a device that interacts with the physical world around it. The main goal are two things. You remotely monitor that device and control that device. Remotely monitor is when you're gathering data, doing some edge processing. Like in this case, you can do video processing or you can do sound processing, and then device status. Controlling the device is when you're wanting to send commands and sometimes set device properties, like the Internet of Things light bulbs. Of course, whenever you talk about edge devices, kind of like those smart light bulbs, we talk about all these different devices out there as how close it is to your users, right? The cloud is, of course, like Azure. where you have your main data centers, and then fog is something in between where you think about these 5G nodes or edge nodes that are available out there that you can deploy your data processing. And when we think about deployment in the cloud, most likely we're talking about thousands of devices. When we deploy to the fog or the edge nodes, about millions of devices. And then when we deploy to edge devices, most likely we're talking about billions of devices out there. Then let's go back to AI. Programming typically looks at like this, right? You have your input, then you have your algorithm. In this case, we're making a calculator. There's two things that you would need. You would need an input, and then you would need an algorithm, and then you would calculate and it would spit out answers for you. Machine learning is on the other way around, right? What you want to do is to teach the computer to create an algorithm. So what do you need? You need input and then a bunch of examples or a bunch of answers. And that way it would learn how to process it and create an algorithm. As a machine learning primer, programming on the right side, we talk about your input, algorithm, and answers. And then on the machine learning, you have your input, answers, and algorithm. In machine learning world, we call that training data. And then you need a training framework in order to build a model, and that model, you would replace it with that algorithm, and you would need, and that's what we call in machine learning, inferencing, and you need the machine learning runtime or inferencing runtime in order to use that model and incorporate it to your application. Today, I will be talking about this side of the house, meaning the Azure Percept is actually on this side where you have the inferencing runtime and where you have these models. All right, let's talk more about that. Of course, now you have more feedback and to improve your training data. Azure Percept Dev Kit. It is available now. It costs about $350 US over here, and it is. I'm not sure how much it is in Europe and in Germany, but it typically comes with this kit, these two items right here, and it is and it also has another module for the audio. So it has Dev Kit, Vision, and Audio. And then you have the Azure Percept Trust module, and then the Azure Percept Vision, and then the Azure Percept Audio. And let's talk more about what all these components are. So whenever we're, think about, we have a video recorder, or even you go to the store, they have these cameras that it's out there that it's watching, like on the previous presentation, where you have a camera on the store and it's always recording, it's always watching. And that's not what we want. What we really want to see is to be able to process that video locally because of, like we talked about GDPR, and we want to do also limited recording and not record everything as much as possible. And that's when we start talking about these intelligent video analytics. So Azure Percept Vision, it's out of the box AI recognition for those common objects. It does not require coding in order to do the out-of-the-box AI recognition. But if you want to customize it, there is a way you can customize the model that can be deployed on these Azure Percept Vision. It uses Intel Movidius for video processing, and also, it uses an IMX 219 camera, Sony camera, The resolution is about 8 megapixel through 30 frames per second. It's an RGB camera that you can use in order to capture video. And then, of course, whenever we have these devices where you have your sound recorder, or those tape recorders long time ago, when you press the record button, it's always listening and it's always recording. And that's not what we really want. What we want these machines to be is only do sound processing at the edge and limit its listening, make it context aware, right? That's when we start talking about these smart assistants, right? Smart assistants, most likely you have these home assistant, like Google Home, or these Amazon devices that is available out there that can control, and it's always listening for that keyword before it starts recording. And that's what this Azure Percept Audio does. It allows you to make it also a smart assistant. Allows you to have it has a sensor, right? A microphone that has 180-degree far field at 4 meters. It has these buttons that you can use in LED. The only thing that it does not have is it allows you to. It does not have speakers, so you have to connect it. So there's an audio out that you have to connect speakers to it to make it as a smart device. But you can actually program it into having its own custom keyword in order to make it a smart assistant. And then, of course, you've seen devices that's always broadcasting and always sending stuff over the internet to the cloud, and it's always tracking each movement. And at the end of the day, that's not what we want. We don't want these devices to be sending all these telemetry data that it's not going to use. And what we really want is to have some data processing at the edge and limit that information being sent to the cloud. And that's when we start talking about these intelligent edge devices. Intelligent edge is being able to filter out only the necessary things that can be sent to the cloud for processing. And that's what Azure Percept Dev Kit allows you to do. It is an ARM device, an NXP IMX8 processor that we currently have. That is available. It has security in terms of the trusted platform module, connectivity. It can connect to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It can connect through Ethernet. There's a way you can even connect it through that USB to have its own, cellular connection and all that. So it allows you that capability. Azure Percept Studio. This is the Azure Cloud Component side, where it allows you to be able to have delightful onboarding. It actually walks you through step by step in order to connect your Azure Dev Kit into Azure Percept. It has integrated experience, and you'll see that on the demo. There's the part where you can do no code flow. So for if you're new to Azure, or if you're new to Azure Percept Studio, it's a good way to start learning how you can deploy models to these devices. And then, of course, there's also a way you can do advanced flow, and it easily helps you prototype and deploy quickly. AI on the edge. Of course, I did talk a little bit more why you would want to do this, right? First is because we want low latency, meaning especially if you're processing video or sound, if you can process it at the edge, the results are fast. And it does not require, to be able to send up to the cloud and wait. And then, of course, because you're sending data to the cloud, it it costs you more because of your ingestion cost, processing cost. If you have a capable device, like in this Azure Percept Dev Kit is capable of processing your data locally, then we don't have to ingest it, and it saves us a lot of money, and it makes it more scalable. And then, of course, flexibility. Flexibility in terms of, you can be on a cruise ship, on an airplane that has limited bandwidth. The application still works. It allows you to be able to still do that processing, and of course, different regions, different factory, different location requires different rules, and this allows you to be flexible enough so that we won't be able to share it outside of that existing local infrastructure, local network. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about what is transfer learning. Transfer learning is a way you can train new models. So typically when you train from scratch, you show it a bunch of pictures, you run it, like in this case, a convolutional neural network, where you give it examples, of what is a car and truck, and be able to create a new model based from that. On the transfer learning side, notice how you have new set of data, but in this case, we have a pre-trained convolutional neural network that is actually trained on cats and dogs, and you're actually giving it new samples where, like in this case, we're training it to detect car or truck. And what it does is it fine-tuned the network weights so that it can detect that and add that capability. So it only can detect car and truck, even though it's using some of the learnings that it did for cats and dogs. And that's what's amazing, and what makes it really good in terms of how you can easily create these models without training from scratch. So that's what Custom Vision AI provides you. It allows you to be able to, like in this case, I have images of fruits. I added the tag, hey, these pictures are fruits, and then click on the train, and it would do transfer learning in order to generate a model. And once you have the model, in this case, I can export it. You can export it into something that you can convert. But in this case, for Azure Percept Dev Kit, they have that all integrated in, and I'll show you that. I'll show that on our demo this afternoon. Later on, I will also talk a little bit about this IoT Edge modules Azure Marketplace. It allows us to be able to customize this Azure Dev Percept Kit, that if I want to add a database, like in this case, if I want SQLite, I can install it there, or in Node-RED can be installed. I think there's a session this morning related to Node-RED. You can install Node-RED on this device and run it locally and filter it. You can also do anomaly detector, custom vision, Redis Edge, and you can even have your own custom Edge module running here. And I'll talk a little bit more about that too. Okay, let's start with the demo. On this demo, I will be talking about Azure Percept Studio, Azure Percept Dev Kit, Azure IoT Hub, Azure Custom Vision, and how it runs Onyx runtime, or in this case, OpenVINO, and then Azure Percept I module. Okay. Let's get started with our demo. Okay. So once you are able to connect Azure Percept device, which I have here in front of me, to the cloud, it would tell you, hey, on this Azure Percept Studio, it is connected right here. I named it Percept Device 01. In this case, I have the vision. I did not plug in the speech module, so I will demo and concentrate on the vision side. But I can, right on here, since I'm on the same network as this device, I can actually click on this view live telemetry, this, and wait until I get the values that's coming from the cloud. In this case, it's empty because I turned it off. And then I can go to this vision tab. And if I want to see what the stream look like, I can click this view your device stream. And it would tell you on Azure that, hey, I can view it. It points me to a port that I can view that dev kit. So the dev kit is actually here, right in front of me. I don't have my camera in, but this is actually the stream that's coming from that dev kit right there below it. So just to make sure it's live, you got my hand. You can see my hand there. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to deploy a sample model. So this is out of the box, models that you can try. So in this case, we can do general object detection, people detection, products on shelf, and vehicle detection. In this case, I'm just going to do general object detection, and I am going to deploy to that device. And what it's going to do is I can click on this view stream. See how it says loading the model. It actually sent the signal that says, hey, I need a new model. Download it on this device. And then I will place this, of course, my little monkey right there. Let's see if it'll detect. It is detecting a teddy bear. No, that's not a teddy bear. It looks like a teddy bear, but not. Okay. So what do? We want to create our own custom vision project. So let me move that a little bit out of the way. And what we're going to do is we're going to capture this image. And this image capture, what it's going to do is it will take a photo from this Azure Percept Dev Kit. Okay, I got my smart home running. Okay, Google, stop. Okay, sorry about that. So I will take a picture of this web stream, and what it will do is it will send it to custom vision, to my custom vision project. I select here that I have some of my project. That is one of the projects where it's going to send to, and I will take a photo. So right now it's taking a picture of my gorilla or monkey, and I click on this untagged, and this is custom vision. It allows me to be able, oh, my picture didn't come out right. Let me take another one. Might be something to do with, speed and how it took the picture properly. But at least you'll see it already took the picture. See if it'll show up here. Now I have two. That's kind of interesting. It had these two lines. Let's see if I can refresh this. Because most of the time it will look something like this. But either way, that's what we have. We'll work on it. Let's try that. I know that is, then I can draw a box around it. And this is annotation, right? In this case, I would say, hey, this is a here. It doesn't want to hear. And of course, I have speak. And then I also have hear, speak, and then, of course, see, no evil. And that right there, it's already annotated. And I can click train. We'll do a quick training. Even though it's quick, it takes a little while in order to do this training. So just like any cooking show, we already have one ready for you. So we'll go back here. We already captured the images. And now, after it does its training, sometimes it takes a few minutes, sometimes it takes an hour. It depends on how busy the API is. Then we'll deploy this custom vision project. And in this case, I want to use this see here, speak no evil. And I want to specify a model iteration. So every time you train a new model, it will give you that iteration. So what I'm saying is that this device is connected to custom vision. I can specifically deploy a model from custom vision to this device. And I just say, deploy the model. And that right there, if I go back to this web stream video, it's loading that model. And then, of course, it might be a larger model. We don't know the size at this point. It doesn't tell us, but it's downloading it from a blob storage, most likely. And once it's ready, now it can do some inferencing. There you go. So now it says here, let's try the other one. See, now that is speak. I will test the other one. Now they have both of them. I don't know if you can hear some beeping sound, and I'll talk to you. I'll talk about that. What is that beeping sound happening? I actually have an Arduino connected to this Azure Percept device, so that every time it sees a specific item, it would start beeping. And I have an article that I wrote related to that. Is be able to do worker safety. So let's say if a personnel is in a specific area that you don't want them to be, you can control an Arduino to create, like in this case, a buzzing sound to avoid, and also have some tracking in between. Okay, so that's cool. We try to move that out of the way. Okay. All right. So we have that capability where we're able to deploy a custom vision project right then and there. We will work with this open device in IoT Hub. So in order to use this Azure Dev Percept Kit, you would need few things, right? You need Azure Percept device, and of course Azure Percept Studio. And also you need to connect it to IoT Hub. And this IoT Hub allows you it's actually running IoT Edge. And each one of these are containers. Think about it as Docker containers running on that device. And one of them, of course, you have the Edge agent. And the Edge Hub allows you to be able to communicate. It's kind of like an MQTT or some way that each one of these modules can communicate with each other or send it to the cloud. So think about it as IoT Hub running locally on that device. Web Stream module allows you to be able to view this web stream. So that is a container running on that device. There's this dev client module. I'm not familiar with that. There's the Azure's ear speech module that allows you to be able to connect to make it a smart speaker or smart assistant. Azure Eye module, that's the one that is responsible for reading the camera and be able to process and run the inferencing. So this is responsible for the inferencing side. The image capturing module, this allows you to take a picture, connect it to IoT, connect it to custom vision, and upload those images. There's the host IP module. I added these two things. I added the Arduino module and then the ASA Percept demo, which is Azure Stream Analytics module. My goal on the Azure Stream Analytics module is to filter the data, the inferencing data, filter it before I send it to the cloud. So in that way, I'm not sending every frame, the result of the frame, to the cloud, because that would eat up a lot of my IoT credits. And I just want to be able to filter them before I send it to the cloud. So let's take a look at that, how I created that. So in this case, if you want to add a new module to here, you click on the set module, and you can add a new one. So where you have use IoT Edge module, Marketplace module, Azure Stream Analytics module. A sample of IoT Edge module, like what I said, it's like Node-RED or SQLite or SQL Edge, those kind of things. That is part of the Marketplace module. IoT Edge module is kind of like the one that I wrote, a custom module related to Arduino. And then of course the Azure Stream Analytics module allows me to connect it to Azure Stream Analytics. So Azure Stream Analytics, I just need to, allows you to create this new ASA job where you go through. I don't have a lot of time to kind of talk the whole process and how I created this, but there's one important thing I wanted to show you if you're going to be working on this side. So just in case, there's a tutorial out there that you can walk through, but let me give you the Azure Stream Analytics. Azure Stream Analytics. Azure Stream. So there's the Stream Analytics jobs. So in this case, that's the one I selected when I created it. The important part here is you specify the input. Like in this case, I specified IoT input, and I specified the source as the Edge Hub, meaning I'm going to run it locally instead of IoT Hub. It's coming from Edge Hub. Remember, it's a local version of IoT Hub, meaning it's running on that device. So it's the Edge Hub. I specify the name that's coming from, and then the output, in this case, I specify alert. I sync it back to Edge Hub. And then on the query side, I specified here, right? Every time I would get data from this neural network, this is the data that's coming out of Azure I module. This allows me to read the data that's, the result of my inferencing. It allows me to get the data there and then get the values of those data. What is the label? And what I want to do is to count how many times that I receive, like in this case, how many times I've seen see or hear or speak this statue or these images, how many times I've seen them, and count them, and then do a tumbling window for every 15 seconds. So that means group it, give me the sum of the result every 15 seconds. And there's this where you specify the confidence, where it has to be a certain level before it detected. Notice how every time you detect an image right there, right, there's that confidence. Like this one, it says 83, 82% confident. So that means anything that's more than 60% added to the count. So right there, it allows me to filter the data that I'm receiving from that inferencing module or the Azure I module, filter it through here, through Stream Analytics, and then send it to the cloud. How I'm sending it to the cloud, let me go back to here. It's of course it's giving me that beeping sound. Hopefully it's not annoying to you guys. So how I'm doing that is through routes. So once I added the module, I specify that Azure Percept module, Azure Percept demo. It gives me the image. Remember, these are Docker containers, how it runs and everything. It has the options, the twin module. It tells me what is the job info that it needs to download from a blob storage to run it locally, those kind of things. And then you have the routes. The routes allows me to say anything that's coming from Azure I module, I push it to ASA, to Azure Stream Analytics. And this is the route where it specifies Azure I module, push it to this IoT input of my Azure Stream Analytics. And then from Azure Stream Analytics, I specify the output, any output, and send it up to the cloud. So this allows me to do pre-processing before I send it up to the cloud. Instead of sending Azure I module to the IoT Hub, I split them up into Azure I module into Stream Analytics Edge and Stream Analytic Edge to IoT Hub. And then that would give me that processing result. So going back to these, to click on this general and click on this view live telemetry, I will have to wait maybe 15 seconds. Oh, there you go. And it gives me the result that it counted 15 times that it saw speak. Let's try to move that a little bit and maybe it'll give us a different value. Might have to count 15 seconds again in order to give us the results. So instead of sending every result of your data, any inferencing, you only view like in this case here, they saw speak 11 times, saw here 15 times. Okay. And then of course, how I did the Arduino module, the same way, Azure I module, I send it to this Arduino module. And this Azure Arduino module allows me to process it and then send data to the Arduino. How I did that, if you want to learn more, I have an article. I can post it later on where I did talk about how I did on this IoT blog, how I connected them to each other, where the Arduino is connected to this dev kit, and how I was able to send and have that buzzer running and all that too, and how to create that. It's a little bit of advanced topic, and I don't want to overwhelm you this new idea, but okay, what just happened? Okay, what just happened? I did demo a way where you can deploy an out-of-the-box model to this device. I was able to do that to this Azure Percept Dev Kit. We were able to capture images from Azure Percept Dev Kit, send it to Custom Vision, and then from Custom Vision, we did train a new model, and then we trained a new model. And then
this is Ralph.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're really in a hurry, and
Yes.
I would love to ask you to shorten the session because you're on overdue already.
Okay, thank you. Give me about a minute. Just wanted to give you the recap. What is AI-enabled IoT? AI is learning from data, Internet of Things. What is Azure Percept? Easy way to prototype and deploy on Azure Edge. And of course, we did talk about Azure Percept Vision, Audio, and Trust. If you want to learn more about me, my name is Ron Dagdag. I'm a lead software engineer. The best way to contact me is through LinkedIn and Twitter @Ron Dagdag. Thanks for geeking out with me about monkeys and Azure Percept. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ron, for being here. We appreciate a lot. Have a nice day. And thanks for showing up. There are no questions in the chat, so
cool.
Oh, thanks.
Right. You're welcome.